Tilder! This is the Digital P120, or sometimes known as the Luxceo P120. It's a 4-feet waterproof RGB LED tube, cost under $200. Internal battery lasts up to 5 hours in bicolor mode or up to 10 hours in RGB mode. It has lighting effects. Do I recommend it? If you film anything that requires water and you have full control of your lighting situation, yes. Done. Roll that intro. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker, where the answers comes first, the reasons come last, but we're constantly and always still learning. So today we're going to find out whether or not the Digitalfoto P120 RGB Waterproof LED tube, sometimes known as the Luxceo P120, is going to be the right solution for you and your overall filmmaking kit. And I want to thank Digitalfoto for sending this out to me so I can provide you with my review today. Now, I'm specifically reviewing the 4-feet version. There is a 1-foot version, but just know all my test results and everything I'm talking about is the 4-feet version. Now, the 4-feet version comes in approximately anywhere from like $150 to just shy of $200, depending on where you buy it from. And you basically get everything you need: carrying case, the light, mounting hardware, wireless remote, a 12-watt USB charging block, and the USB-C cable. So you pretty much get everything you need. And without further ado, let's go over the test results real quick because the bottom line is pretty short and sweet. Here we have the light output test, again 6 feet from the wall. Those are my GH5 settings, pretty conservative. And basically what you can see here is that in a controlled lighting situation, you're going to be able to do what you need to get exposure, especially if you're outside shooting at night. But if you're going to want to use something in more ambient light, you're going to probably need a more powerful light. Next, let's take a look at the vector scopes. Again, this is not a custom white balance. I only dialed in the Kelvin to see what the lights are doing naturally. The daylight LEDs are doing quite good with the color chips pointing where they need to be, as well as the skin tones. And the tungstens are off when it comes to the skin tones and reds. And this is something we see pretty much across the board when it comes to tungsten LEDs. And here is the RGB lux readings. My GH5 is set at a constant f2.8, so you can see what it's doing. Now, the Digital P120 does not allow you to actually dial in the colors. It's all pre-selected. They're not really hitting the mark, but for the most part, they look like the colors you would expect. For the battery test, we get some really good results. We get about 4 hours and 45 minutes in bicolored mode and up to 10 hours when it comes to just using RGB. So what's the bottom line here? Is the P120 something you should be thinking about for your overall filmmaking kit? And I have to say, it's really only a yes if you fit into the specific criteria that you're filming, usually around night or in a dim setting, and there's rain, water, or some sort of liquid involved on set. There's 2 movies that I'm currently a part of, and in one of the shoots, there was a torrential downpour that we were not expecting, and basically that kind of forced us to really change how we wanted to do our lighting setup. But luckily, I had this LED tube, which was able to simulate a cop car as well as a fill light when we needed it. And basically, when it did rain, it was okay. In fact, when it really started coming, and everyone is scrambling to try to get their equipment into the car, we were in an area where there just wasn't a street light, so nobody could really see what was going on. So I'm literally running around with this waterproof LED tube, blasting lights so people could see what was going on and get things into their car. I wish I had behind the scenes of this, but unfortunately the Sony ZV-1 is not really water resistant, and I didn't want that camera to get messed up. But it performed great. It was completely drenched and soaked, but it performed wonderfully. The second movie was we were supposed to do a rain scene, but we had to change it to snow due to the weather getting pretty chilly at night. And basically, these soap suds are floating all over the place, and we're trying to make sure the cameras don't get any soap suds on the lens and everything like that. So basically for this one, I was using it more or less as a fill light, but I was also using it as like a simulated street light because, again, we're shooting in a dark scene. So this light isn't necessarily going to provide the most brightness. It did quite well, but basically it was working perfectly as a street light as I swung it around through snow. Now, depending on how you like to work, you could see this as a pro or a con, and that is basically if you want to have really fine-tuned adjustments, you have to use a smartphone app, as the wireless remote doesn't give you a whole lot of like micro adjustments of the brightness. Now, if you don't have either one of those, you can actually just double click on the green button to cycle through different colored modes. And if you want to change the brightness, simply hold the button and it'll basically dim down or dim up. And it's not as easy to catch the brightness that you want doing it this way because it does dim down rather quickly. Now, the reason I'm not a big fan of smartphone apps in general is just because there's too many of them for your camera, for your audio, for your lights, for this and that. I'm a little bit old school. I would rather the P120 have a dedicated brightness button. It can even just be one. And as you're clicking it or holding it, it'll adjust, either in increments, or if you hold it, it'll slowly down, and then you can click until you get to what you actually want for the brightness. That's just me, but if you love the smartphone app idea, it is available for you should you want to use it. Last but not least, I would love to see more of these types of waterproof LED tubes, and hopefully they make some more powerful versions, because if we get something that's very close to the Chameleon 4 that I reviewed not too long ago, those are very powerful and they do very well in key light situations when you have pretty good control of the lighting. Even if it is a little bright here and there, they still blast out an insane amount of light. If that thing was waterproof, awesome. And hey, that is it for this week, everybody. If this video has made all the influence in your purchasing decisions, I would truly appreciate it if you check out my Amazon affiliate links down below. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it down below as well, and I will get to them as fast as I can. And until then, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.